What's up YouTube, Capital G here, another episode of Hope for Rogue Players, and this time we are looking at an extremely offensive build of Kaisenjus that got 5th place at our regionals in Springfield, Massachusetts, piloted by one Daniel Velastegui over here at Silverstorm Gaming. His brother actually recorded the video. I know some of you guys are like, Kaisenjus, you about to throw up the question marks like, what the heck? That deck hasn't been a part of the meta since like 2015, back in the Secret Forces days, and I was pretty much shocked by this too. Kaisenjus had a couple of regional tops in 2016, but nothing that would make you think that the deck is anything higher than Rogue. And I think Silverstorm Gaming is a fairly new channel. They've got about 10 videos on their channel, so you guys should check them out, but I'm not sure if they're regularly posting. So I mean, I would keep an eye on that, but you guys should definitely watch this video. He did an excellent job of explaining. Less than 700 views on the video for such an excellent and creative deck. And one of the things I've always liked about Kaisenjus is it's an innately aggressive deck. Like, even though Kaisenjus historically have found most success playing kind of like defensive builds with a whole bunch of traps and being basically a stun deck, it's still an archetype that is aggressive by nature. If you look at just like the combos, the best ones, I mean, these are cards that basically allow you to normal summon like pretty much your entire hand if you have a Kaisenju filled hand and just do massive amounts of battle damage. I mean, there's a reason, guys, you've pretty much seen every version of Kaisenju ever except, well, maybe the pendulum versions. You've seen just about all of them always run double cowboy, and you're not running that unless you're planning to do a massive amount of battle damage in one turn. Now, the first thing that I noticed is this, quite frankly, is probably the most aggressive version of Kaisenju I've ever seen in my entire life. Well, at least do well. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you can make a version with just all monsters or something and say it's more aggressive, but for this to actually top a regional, it is impressive because he ran absolutely no traps. I mean, his mindset was go in, always go second, blow my opponent's board up, and just, you know, bring out the whooping stick, do as much damage as possible. I saw Dp-Ygo here and I was like, yeah, this dude was not fucking around. He was trying to OTK because you can clearly see, like, when you're running the 12 combos, you have enough damage to push through even well-established boards from players like, or from decks like DDD, or even like Heroes, ABC Buster Dragon. Like, those are not a problem. You obviously have a bunch of board wipes in the Interrupted Slumber and the Regeki, but you have 5 different kaijus to pretty much get rid of things like ABC Buster Dragon. If they on contact, you just play Interrupted Slumber, and with the bounce effects of Comma 1, where people have stopped playing like Magic Specters, they've stopped playing the things that can't be targeted, like, this card is becoming very, very, very good. And I'm actually looking at Kaisenjus like moving forward, and I'm like, you know what? I actually think I like their matchup against some of like the decks that are expected to be really good in the meta, mainly DDD and Zodiac Beast. Even a deck like the Wind Witch Idolin Artifact, if you can take care of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, that's kind of the card that I would think that this deck would fear the most, would be Crystal Wing, because you guys know pretty much the biggest reason why Kaisenju fell off the planet is because Solemn Strike absolutely destroys this deck, and Crystal Wing has kind of the same exact effect. I mean, if you're holding 4 Kaisenjus and you summon one and your opponent just negates the effect, your turn's basically over. And in a version like this, you cannot have that happen. This guy has no defense to fall back on. He needs to be able to kind of go off. But if you can kaiju away the Crystal Wing, whether that be a Crystal Wing in DDDs or even the, you know, invulnerable Crystal Wing, the one that cannot be destroyed by card destruction that Wind Witch Idolin Artifacts can make, you can just get rid of everything else on the board. Even things like Radine aren't going to be that big of a deal because Radine will still allow you to summon all of these monsters on the field. They may be able to, or Radine may be able to put down the comma 1 before it can bounce it, but it doesn't mean that you still can't run it over. Even a well-established DDD board of like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, Titanic Galaxy, and maybe a Siegfried on board, if you get rid of something like the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, you can simply use comma 1 to like bounce the Titanic Galaxy, and then all your opponent really has is a Siegfried. And when you have this much ammunition, you have this many ways of making your monsters like super high attacks, because you have to remember he has Sujin, which can give a Kaisenju monster 1,000 attack, and then he has Dp-Ygo, which can give it another 1,000 attack. So like, he definitely has ways of getting his monsters to, I mean, 40, like over 4,000 attack. It's really easy. Now, he went a route of basically always going second, That's why you see so much spell and trap removal. And even though the Wind Witch Idolin artifact is a deck that you don't generally want to throw blind spell and trap removal at, the reason that I think it could be okay in that matchup moving forward is because let's say that you Twin Twister the Wind Witch Idolin artifact deck, right? And you hit a Morale Tech or you hit, you know, an artifact Scythe. It's not like Yosenjus have ever been predicated on their extra deck anyways. It's like, it's not really going to matter. They haven't committed to the board, so there's nothing for Morale Tech to blow up. You can just bounce it with comma 1, or you can interrupted slumber them. You can just wipe the board out and you can just proceed to just, you know, instantly kill them. So I look at this deck and I'm like, man, you've got all the field clearing to like wreck, to pretty much wreck Zodiac Beast, you know, all of the things that are kind of going to be moving into the next format. Like think about something like Solemn Strike moving out of the meta and Dimensional Barrier moving into the meta. That is something that benefits Yosenju so much because they don't really use their extra deck that much unless you're going for that cowboy damage at the end of the turn. So things like that are pretty much just going to benefit them. Strike is a card that can pretty much be the bane of Yosenjus. You can strike a Yosenju player at the right time and basically just OTK them during your next turn. But if you use something like Dimensional Barrier, they don't care. They're just going to push through and kill you. So I thought that this was a really cool build. There was actually another Yosenju that topped that was completely different from this. It was a super defensive build, and I don't know, I've always kind of liked that about Yosenju. Some of them are like really aggressive, although again, I've never seen one this aggressive that plays like Jerigato and plays like, you know, freaking Night Beam and like all of this spell and trap removal. But he obviously had a mindset of he wanted to just kill people immediately. Metaphors players kind of set up with Alcahest and maybe like a Mithrium, and he just wanted to be able to blow them out, bounce whatever cards that they had left on the field after the interrupted slumber resolved, and pretty much just kill them. And it just goes without saying that interrupted slumber plus comma 1 is just like there's too much synergy there when you give your opponent a kaiju and then you summon comma 1 and you just bounce it to your hand and you have a 3200 kaiju. Like the OTKs of this deck are definitely real. So let me know what you guys think. I don't know, depending on I guess the reaction of this video, there's another Yosenju build that I do want to talk about that's completely different. It is defensive, but I don't know, I get a little more excitement out of seeing like a super aggressive one. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, please check out the people who originally posted this video, because this video has way too few views for this guy to have created such an interesting and aggressive deck. Thank you guys for watching as always.